in. Oh, how are ya? I got big news. I just got my first teaching job. Thanks for the tea. It's delicious. Well, sugar, I always got time for you. I just got back from the luncheon downtown. So I want you to tell me everything about what I need to know before I go into my first teaching job. Of course, sugar. What is it that you'd like to know? Tell me all your wisdom. Yes, sugar. Well, the Daughters of the American Education Society. We have our annual luncheon, and it was a pure delight. I'm telling you what, they absolutely have hearts of gold, and we just have a good old time when we get together. Yes. I just think that back in our day, we knew how to manage our classes. And these days, I just don't know how you're going to do it, sugar. I just don't know how you're going to do it. Because back in my day, the students knew how to behave. And the students had what we called backpacks. And they used their backpacks very wisely. And they knew what to put in their backpack and what to leave out of the backpack. These days, the children are bringing all kinds of things in the backpacks, and I don't even know how you're going to be able to manage a classroom. I don't know how you do it these days, because when I was talking with my friends at the Daughters of the American Education Society, we was talking about the good old days, and we just don't know what's going on with all of this newfangled technology. I don't even know how you're going to do it. Let me tell you this. Back in my day, the children knew how to behave. They knew how to unmute themselves during a Google Meet. That's what we called them back then. The children knew. And their parents knew. And we all had the norms, the technological norms. Back in the olden days, there was this old instrument that was called Zoom. And you would get on the Zoom call, and you would unmute yourself when you needed to speak, and you would mute yourself when you did not need to speak. And everybody knew, every single child in that classroom knew when they needed to turn the camera on. And the children knew when to put the smartphones away. These days, I just don't know what the world is coming to, because back in my day, we had what you call perseverance. We had what you call determination. We knew how to get through hard times. And these days, I don't know what the world's coming to. All these flying cars we got here, back in my day, I learned how to drive on what we called a stick shift or a straight shift. And these days, I don't even know how the children are going to learn how to drive. They don't even have to drive these days. Everything is driving for them. Everything is automated. I don't even have to put in the directions. I just think the directions, and the flying car takes me there. I can't keep up with it all. It's too much newfangled technology, I tell you. Too much technology. Just don't know what the world is coming to. Welcome to Teaching with Less Turbulence, tip number 2. Let's talk today about change. What happens with change is that it brings about so much fear and anxiety, because when you don't know what to expect, it makes you feel out of control and powerless. Off the top of your head, how many songs can you list about change? I can think about 3. Tupac, Bruce Hornsby. Who else? So many songs are out there about change, so many quotes about change, so many books about change, so many movies about change, because change is life. Life is change. We have to embrace change. And I'm gonna just challenge you to just embrace, just have some open arms, just feel the love for the change. Change is scary. Change is the unknown, which brings me to another movie about change, which is all of the Frozen movies. There are only 2, but still there's probably going to be more, because things change and Elsa's going to change. Another topic for another day. Side note, technology is changing. Global conditions are changing. Our leaders are changing. Our students are changing. We are changing. We're going to change 15 bajillion times just in this day.
we're going to change throughout the year. We're going to change and change and change. Change is one thing that we can always count on. And so one of the biggest things that is going to keep you stressed out and that's going to keep you in this place of being blocked is not embracing change. I want you to think about what life would be like without change. Just think for a moment how scary that would be. What if you never got to change presidents? What if the seasons never change? How scary would life be without change? What if your salary didn't change every year? What if your salary didn't change every year? Well, actually in teaching, sometimes it doesn't change much, but that's another topic for another day, right? Side note. When it comes to embracing change, I want you to think about how you can be a lifelong learner. When we can accept change and understand that it is part of life, and without it, we would be literally really miserable. I'm in my 16th year teaching, and it can be very tempting for me to sit back and say, I know how to handle everything because I'm the expert and I've got a lot of experience and I can do this all by myself and I really don't need any of you people to tell me what to do. Well, with that attitude, what happens is that I end up kind of miserable. It kind of sucks. It doesn't mean that you have to accept every change. And it doesn't mean that we have to always agree with every mandate or initiative or change that is happening in our country or our world or in our school system or whatever. It doesn't mean you have to agree with it, and it doesn't mean that you have to nod your head and say, okay, I'll just go along with it. But when you embrace change and you understand that change is what keeps you going and it keeps you vibrant and it keeps you alive, it actually can reignite your passion for teaching. Here's one thing you can do today to challenge yourself to embrace change. I want you to think about a box. A box. I want you to think about a box. Let me go get a box. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I got my box. So I want you to imagine that everything that you've ever learned about teaching is in this box. Now, what happens if you close it? You put a tape on it and you just call it a day. It's going to get old and stagnant, and it's going to be really crummy. So I want you to think about everything that you know about teaching as an open box. And you know what? Sometimes things need to be taken out and replaced. Some things you don't want to let in that box. Some things you need to just discover that you didn't realize were there. Some things you have time for, some things you don't. But if you're constantly changing and allowing new things to go into your box, then guess what? You're going to be happier. You're going to be fresher. You're going to have your passion for teaching reignited. Now, there are some things that need to stay in the box forever, like your values and your principles and what makes you special and your unique gifts. Don't let anybody ever take those out of your box, okay? But when it comes to your knowledge of Microsoft Word, why not freshen it up a little bit? Or when it comes to all these cool technology tools, if it's too much to put in your box, just say, I'm sorry, I don't have any more room. But if it's something that you're willing to, part with, okay, I'm willing to try something. I'm willing to try this, and I'm willing to embrace it and see how it goes, and just see. And another thing that you can definitely have in your box is input from other colleagues, and listen to their suggestions, and see what you can learn. You take what works and you leave the rest. If you liked what you heard, visit my website, thetransformedteacher.com, for more free resources. And if nobody else tells you today, you rock.